Hey there, I'm Sal. Thanks for checking out the video. Today we're going to be swapping out the center console in my B6 A4 for a center console from a B7. So it's improved in a lot of different ways, but namely, there's no more wasted space anymore, and it actually has cup holders built into the center console, so big win there. I got lucky and found mine at a local pick and pull for pretty cheap, and today we're just going to be swapping it out, and I'll take you guys along showing you how I'm going to do it. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm not going in any particular order here, but I just thought I would start at the front and then work my way back. I'm going to start up here with this upper trim that goes across the cup holder here. This is probably not the safest way of doing it, but if you can get yourself one of these picks and get behind it on the sides, then you can pull, and you can see it just releases like that. And then you can kind of work as a lever if you stick your finger in here and then push from the other side, and then the other side pops out, and you can just pull this right out. From there, we don't need to remove any of these buttons or cup holders up here. And then next, moving down here, it's the next set of tools that you'll need, and these are the radio removal tools. I bought these on Amazon. I'll have them linked down below, but you definitely need these in order to remove the radio. There's really no way around it. You just slide these in, and then you'll hear it lock into place like that. And the way it works is this open tab faces towards the middle, so the long edge, without any of the cutouts in it, will be on the outside. And yeah, it takes a little bit of force to get it in there, but you'll hear the spring compress and then it clip into place. Once all four are in, you can just pull, and the whole unit just slides right out. To get some space, I'm just going to remove all these connectors in the back. So it's just the four connectors, and then it looks like I have a ground wire. Now we can set this aside. Next, we can make our way down and remove the shifter bezel. So it just pulls right up. There's four clips holding it in place in the four corners. I'm going to take this off. It's in my case, with this, what is this, ECS tuning shift knob, there's three 2mm Allen heads holding it onto the shift lever. And then the shift knob just pulls right off. So next up, we have the ashtray that we want to take out, and it looks like it'll just get removed with two 8mm screws right here. Okay, that's definitely the way to go. You want to remove these, you don't have to remove it, but just push the climate controls out of their spot, and then you get a lot more access to pull the ashtray out. With all this removed, we have access to a couple more screws. We got two more 8mm right here. Okay, so I'm deciding to take this out. I was able to peek back here, and it's only just a couple connectors. So we'll pop those out, and then this will just free up a little bit more space. Okay, with that removed, we can see two more hidden screws in the back there. There's one on either side. They're both 8mm as well. And for these, you'll definitely want a long extension in order to reach back there. Okay, it's kind of like playing hide and seek with these bolts up here, but there's two more hiding on the sides. One there and one there. There are a couple more. Again, playing hide and seek. One there and one there. There's also two more 8mm bolts, one in the driver's footwell and then one on the passenger side in the same spot. You'll likely need to remove the cover with a pick, but if your mount is broken like mine is, you can just kind of sneak your hand behind and press it out from the backside. Okay, next we'll jump back here, and this ashtray just pops out extremely easy. And then for this trim, it pulls out straight forwards. It's kind of slid in on both sides and kind of locked in like that. So you can just kind of force it out from its little spot on both sides. And then it slides right out like that. These connectors are pretty easy to pop out. And then we have access to the underside of the armrest. To remove the armrest, we will loosen this nut right here, and then that's a 13 millimeter. It also gives us access to these other two 13 millimeter nuts, which we can take out now. With those removed, you can see we're really headed in the right direction here, feeling a lot looser. And then the last big step is going to be getting this e-brake out of here. Okay, so looking up here for the e-brake, we got to take this panel off, and you can either stick a pick behind here, or now that we've got this access, you can just push from behind with a finger, and it should just pop right out. So I think we'll need to take out this little bracket here too. It's just two Phillips head screws. I forgot to mention it here, but you'll also want to disconnect that electrical connector, which is running to the cigarette lighter. If you forget it now, you will be reminded when you go to pull out the console. Okay, so the last thing is this trim on the e-brake. I don't know how to get it disconnected from the center console. I think when I pulled the old one out, it just kind of I don't know if it broke or just kind of dislodged itself, but I'm just going to try and pull this out and hopefully this disconnects. But yeah, everything should be disconnected and we can just kind of wiggle it. You want to get this over these buttons like that, and then we can just start working our way back. Okay, yeah, so I was just able to kind of force it down past these indents, and then we should be good now. Okay. I don't really see this fitting, so I think the best way of doing this is probably having e-brake down, and then, oh yeah, much better. This whole thing just slides out. Console removed. Okay, so next we'll take off this bracket that holds the center armrest. There's just one nut up there, and then it should just slide off. Now with that removed, we have a nut right here that holds the e-brake in, another one right there. Okay, with those two removed, don't forget this little plug at the base of the e-brake. So the next project is handling the actual e-brake cables. So you can see there's one on this side, and then it's a little bit hard to see, but there's one on the other side as well. They both slide out. And then it's got these two little fingers that hold them in place. And you might have enough slack to get it off without really playing with anything, but if you look in here, there's a little button on the bottom side of that, which I get in with a pick here, and you can, let me try to get an angle. It's really hard here. You can press it in with the pick or with a screwdriver or something, like a flathead. You might be able to kind of see that. But what that does is loosens these cogs against the outside here. And if you pull on the e-brake forwards as you do this, these fingers should come back, and it should give you a lot more room to slide these guys off. Okay, so I wanted to try and show you better what I'm talking about for adjusting this here. And you'll be able to see this a lot better in the car. But if you stick one of these picks in here, and let's see, you can see that tiny little silver piece right there. You'll stick the pick in, and I don't recommend doing this, but you can go like this. You can see it snaps forward. So it's spring loaded that way. So if you think about it, when you get it in the car and you get it all hooked up, you want to depress that so that it spring loads as far forward as it can, and then your e-brake is nice and tight. To loosen it, it takes a little bit of coordination here, but you're going to be pulling the left horn, if that's what you want to think about it here. This right one will stay still. I kind of leave it pressed up against this side here, and then you can depress it and pull it around. It's really stiff, so pull it, pull it, pull it, and then that's the end right here. You can't go any further than this, but when you put it in the car, this should give you plenty of room to get the cables attached again. When you go to throw it back in the car, just make sure that the e-brake is all the way down so that this is as far back as it can be, right? Because watch, if the e-brake's up at all, then you're gonna have the heck of a time trying to get these cables on. So you wanna make sure it's all the way down to give you as much room as possible. The e-brake from the B7 has this extra mounting point which interferes with the existing bolt here on the B6. So you'll have to remove that bolt and then swap it with the longer one from the donor car. So we'll just slide it into place. And again, make sure it's all the way down to give you the best opportunity. I'm doing the driver's side first and then the passenger side one. Really not that bad actually. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Cool. And actually they're both on. Then we can slip it on this back stud, slip it on the front stud, and the e-brake is actually connected. So I'm going to bolt this down and then I'm going to release this like I just showed you in the garage. So these will slide forward and it'll be nice and tight. But I want to bolt it down first so that we don't run into any issues there. So these are both the lock nuts back on there, and then the bolt that goes up here, because now it's got the bracket on top of it, we need a longer one. So this is from the donor car, this is from this car, and so you can see it's a good bit longer, and that'll allow it to pass all the way through and then grab some threads. You can see there's still a good bit of slack in the e-brake cables, and we don't want that. So I'm going to do the same thing that we talked about earlier and release this, and these will swing forward as far as they can. Cool. And now the e-brake should be a lot tighter and it grabs right away, which is what we're looking for. Before you throw the console in, you'll almost certainly have to do some trimming around the e-brake area. You can see where I was rubbing here. It was just kind of catching on that plastic wiring housing, whatever you want to call that. Unfortunately, I didn't really recognize it until I had a lot of the console bolted in, so I opted to just trim it without taking the console out, so that's why it's kind of a hack job in there. But if you do it beforehand, you should be able to make it look cleaner and probably more effective too. Okay, so before I throw the new one in, I just wanted to compare them side by side really quick. And you can see they're basically the exact same shape, they're the same exact thing. But down here is really where the money's made here. So you can see there's just so much wasted space up here. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to use this for. I throw my wallet in there, but I mean, not much more than that. And then this big space is usually covered by the armrest sitting right here. So it's another one of those, like, I mean, I guess if you have a lot of change, you can fill that thing up. But generally speaking, not a lot of good space here. If you come over to the new one, you can see they're able to sneak in 2 cup holders here. They moved the cigarette lighter over. You can see it was up there before. Now it's back here. You still got a little tray that'll sit underneath the cup holder here. And then if you compare where the e-brake handle was to where it is now, they just had to slide it left, and then that's how they made room there. But otherwise, they're identical, and it should be a pretty easy swap. I don't think you can reuse the same e-brake, so if you're getting this from a donor car or buying it online, I would be sure that it includes the new e-brake to offset it a little bit more. Okay, so it should just slide in the way that the other one came out. And then all the bolts and nuts just translate over the new one. The only exception to that would be the one bolt at the front of the e-brake, which you'll just have to swap out. I didn't record any of this because it's really just the inverse of what we did to take it out. The only thing I forgot to record, and I wish I did, I apologize, is extending the wiring for the cigarette lighter. The new console shifted its location back about 6 inches, so I just snipped the wiring and then crimped in about 6 inches of some extra wire that I had laying around, and that worked pretty well. But yeah, overall it's a pretty simple swap, and I would definitely recommend checking your local pick and pull to see if they've got a B7 in the same interior color as your car. Having the cup holders just makes all this work worth it. It's super nice. In other news, I recently got these new wheels for the car. They're 18s off of a B8 A4, and they look awesome in my opinion. Way better than the 17s that came on the car. But back to the console though. I hope this video helped you out. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and have a great rest of your day.